Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling a question that seems to be on a lot more minds lately. Could retirement look different? Maybe, happen somewhere else entirely? We're going to explore this growing trend of global retirement, and specifically, we'll dig into why Thailand has become such a popular spot, particularly for folks from places like the U.S.
Exactly. And we've been looking closely at this research paper, Exploring Opportunities for Global Retirement in Thailand by Afisivad Sirvadanwaravachara. It gives a really comprehensive look at what makes Thailand so appealing for this stage of life.
Right. So if you've ever daydreamed about maybe swapping your daily grind for an adventure abroad, or, even if you're just curious about how global lifestyles are changing, then you're definitely in the right place. Our mission today is really to understand the specific appeal of Thailand for retirees. We're talking everything from the money side of things to the culture and even the practical nuts and bolts of actually making that move.
Yeah, our goal is to paint a clear picture of why Thailand is, well, increasingly seen as this prime retirement haven. We'll look at the economic pluses, the healthcare and wellness scene, those crucial cultural and lifestyle factors, and of course the essentials like visas and the legal stuff. Okay. Ready to dive in?
Absolutely. Let's start with the bigger picture. What are the global trends that are making this idea of retiring abroad even a thing people are considering seriously now?
Well, globally, we're seeing a really significant increase in the number of people hitting retirement age. This is especially true in the U.S. The paper highlights that the 65-plus population there is projected to jump from about 12% currently to, well, a pretty substantial 20% by 2050.
Well, 20%.
Yeah, it's a massive demographic shift, largely driven by the baby boomer generation, who are now actively looking for more, let's say, sustainable and appealing ways to live out their retirement. So with that many people heading into retirement, it's really no surprise we're seeing this global search for options like Thailand. It definitely underscores the potential pressure on retirement systems back home.
20% is huge. It sounds like countries are really starting to notice this and maybe even trying to attract these retirees.
Precisely, yeah. Many nations are now actively marketing themselves. They see the economic benefits, right? Attracting retirees means attracting their financial resources. And Thailand, well, they've been quite proactive, actually, developing specific visa programs aimed right at retirees.
So it's kind of a win-win situation then. A symbiotic relationship, I think the research called it. Retirees get a potentially better, more affordable lifestyle, and Thailand benefits economically, culturally, too.
That's the idea.
So what are the main things pushing people to, make such a big move overseas for retirement?
It's really a mix of things. Demographic pressures back home are part of it, more retirees, fewer younger workers maybe supporting the system. Financial reasons are definitely a major factor. I mean, the appeal of a lower cost of living is, hard to ignore.
Sure.
And then there's just the allure of a potentially better lifestyle, maybe a bit more adventure, and critically, access to more affordable healthcare.
That makes a lot of sense. The idea of your retirement savings stretching further in a place that's beautiful and culturally interesting, that's pretty compelling. And Thailand's not exactly off the beaten path, is it?
Not at all. Thailand has really become a kind of hub of retirement, as the paper puts it, for these global nomads, people looking for that mix of adventure and relaxation. Plus, lots of tourists already spend long periods there, so the jump to making it a permanent retirement base isn't quite as daunting as it might seem for some.
Okay, so Thailand's definitely on the map. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of why. What makes it so appealing as a retirement destination?
Yeah.
What are those core attractions?
Well, number one is probably affordability. The paper really stresses this. Compared to most Western countries, Thailand offers a significantly lower cost of living. This means even folks with relatively modest pensions can often live quite comfortably there. It consistently ranks among the cheapest countries to live in.
Right.
And what's striking is the range. Even on a tighter budget, it seems you can achieve a level of comfort that might be, well, out of reach in many Western cities. That's a powerful draw.
Absolutely, especially with costs rising everywhere, it seems. And I imagine the warm weather doesn't hurt either.
Definitely not. The fantastic warm climate all year round is a huge plus. Places like Phuket, Koh Samui, Chiang Mai, they're popular for a reason. It's also attractive for people who can maybe still work remotely, the so-called tax refugees or online entrepreneurs looking for a better financial setup.
So sunshine and potentially lower taxes or costs if you're still learning.
Exactly. And interestingly, despite the language barrier, which is real, there's a wide availability of Western conveniences and amenities that really help smooth the transition.
Like what?
Familiar foods, international supermarkets, good internet, international schools if needed, things that create a sense of, well, familiarity in a new place.
That makes sense. Finding that balance between a new culture and some home comforts. What about the lifestyle itself? Leisure, activities.
Oh, the options are incredibly varied. From, amazing beaches to quiet gardens in the countryside. The paper points to several key things that determine the quality of life. Economic factors, obviously, but also health and wellness services, cultural things like language and how easy it is to adapt, personal safety crime rates, the legal system and political stability. Like, is there much corruption? It's the whole package.
Right, it's not just about the cost.
Exactly. And the paper also makes a really crucial point. The value of pensions in many Western countries hasn't kept pace, right? So that makes more affordable places in Asia, like Thailand, look even better. It's that combination, good climate, affordability, interesting culture, low cost of living. That's just a really powerful mix.
And it sounds like Thailand ticks those boxes. The paper mentions economic stability and favorable exchange rates helping too.
That's right. Plus, the general friendliness and hospitality of the Thai people often makes it easier for newcomers to settle in. There's also a perception of safety, with generally low crime rates reported, and a reasonably fair judicial system, which adds peace of mind. And of course, that tropical climate means you can be outdoors doing things pretty much year-round. So yeah, the core appeal really is that blend of affordability and a genuinely enriching quality of life.
Okay, let's dig a bit deeper into those economic factors then. You mentioned Thailand ranks highly for affordable living and rent.
Yes, the research really highlights that. Consistently, Thailand stands out for its low cost of living, and especially rental costs when you compare it to its per capita GDP. This makes it super attractive for expats wanting to, significantly cut down their living expenses compared to back home.
And healthcare costs. That's always a big one for retirees.
Yeah, and interestingly, the paper points out that healthcare spending in Thailand as a percentage of its GDP per capita is actually lower than in many higher income countries. So you might find yourself paying less, potentially, for comparable or even better quality care than you'd get with a pricey insurance plan back home, which, frees up funds.
Right.
Chiang Mai in the north gets a specific mention as a major area for affordable, long-stay retirement living.
So your healthcare budget could potentially stretch a lot further.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk practicalities. Visas, how does that work for retiring there?
Right. Thailand has specific retirement visas. A common one is the one-year long-stay non-immigrant visa. Typically, you get 90 days initially, and then you extend it for a year, assuming you meet the financial requirements.
And what are those?
Generally, it involves showing either a minimum amount in a Thai bank account. Currently, it's around 800,000 Thai baht.
Okay, 800,000 baht.
Yes. Yeah, or proving a consistent monthly income transfer of at least 65,000 baht. You usually need a medical certificate for the yearly renewal, too. What's interesting is that these amounts have been pretty stable for about a decade, and they're setting up more localized long-stay consulates in other countries, which can make applying a bit easier.
That 800,000 baht, while maybe less than a house deposit back home, still sounds like a fair chunk.
It is, but compared to the cost of long-term care or property in many Western countries, it puts it in perspective for many retirees.
True. Are there any potential economic risks or downsides people should think about?
Well, the paper does mention a couple of things. Fluctuations in the Thai baht against your home currency that could affect your spending power, obviously.
Sure.
And, the broader global economy could have knock-on effects on things like cost of living eventually. But despite those potential issues, Thailand keeps showing up on those best places to retire lists, often specifically mentioning favorable exchange rates, low living costs, and even the affordability of getting household help.
Yeah, you see those lists all the time. And the initial visa process sounds fairly approachable.
It seems so. The paper notes that tourist visas often allow stays up to 3 months initially. That gives people a good chance to visit, look around, get a real feel for the place before committing long term. The research also breaks down some estimated monthly budgets, which is super helpful for planning.
Oh, that is useful. What sort of ranges are we talking about?
Well, for a couple looking for a, let's say, modest but comfortable life, the paper suggests around $1,500 a month. That covers basics like housing, food, local transport, healthcare.
Okay.
If you want a higher standard, maybe a bigger place, more Western comforts, eating out more, entertainment, It might be closer to $2,500 a month for a couple.
And for luxury,
For a more luxurious lifestyle, high-end apartment, top amenities, fine dining, exclusive activities, maybe around $3,400 a month for a couple.
so quite a range. It really shows there are options depending on your finances and what you're looking for. What about buying property? Is that common, and is it affordable too?
Yeah, the real estate market can be very attractive. The paper cites figures showing that buying an apartment in a city center costs like significantly less per square meter, less than a fifth of the UK price, maybe two-thirds of the US price.
Wow.
And outside the city centers, it's even cheaper. Utilities, electricity, water also tend to be lower than in the UK and US, maybe less than half the UK rate, around two-thirds of the US price.
That is a huge difference. Housing and utility costs could be just a fraction of what you're used to.
Exactly. Big saving potential. Now, the paper does note that, say, expat standard housing right in central Bangkok might be pricier relative to local Thai incomes, but even then, it's generally still cheaper than major global cities. This affordability is just key for retirees on fixed incomes. The research even suggests, for example, a British retiree with an average UK pension could potentially have a much richer lifestyle in Thailand.
So the economic picture looks pretty rosy overall. Are there any tax advantages to sweeten the deal?
Yes, a couple of points there. Historically, until 2020, there wasn't a property tax for retirees. More importantly, generally, Thailand doesn't tax your global income like pensions or savings income that you bring into the country as a retiree.
Okay, that sounds good.
But, and this is really important, your home country might still tax you based on your domicile. Basically, your home country could still want to tax your worldwide income even if you live abroad. So you absolutely need to check those rules with a tax advisor who understands international situations. Don't just assume you won't pay tax back home.
That's a crucial point. Okay, let's switch gears to another vital area. Healthcare and wellness. You said this is a big motivator.
Absolutely. Right up there with safety and cost. Access to good, affordable healthcare and wellness options is a major driver for choosing Thailand. The country has a well-developed healthcare system, both public and private hospitals, more and more clinics, convenient dayward services. They cater to a lot of different needs and generally at costs that are pretty accessible, especially for middle-income folks.
And the quality. Is it comparable to what people are used to?
The paper really emphasizes the high standard of service you find in both public and private facilities in Thailand. They often meet international benchmarks. You can usually expect personalized care. What's also kind of interesting is the wide availability of alternative healthcare.
Like traditional Thai medicine.
Exactly. Traditional Thai and herbal remedies, but also Ayurvedic practices, Chinese acupuncture and herbs, reflexology, even things like Reiki, alongside modern clinics that take a holistic approach. It's a real blend.
That sounds incredibly appealing, especially for people interested in holistic health.
Yeah, the research highlights how both traditional and alternative methods contribute to this comprehensive approach to wellness. Thailand's often seen as a top choice if you want a safe place with affordable, high-quality personal care. Plus, the whole allure of Thai spas, therapeutic massage, the focus on healthy diet and lifestyle, lots of organic food options, vegetarian, vegan stuff readily available. It's a big part of the appeal.
It paints a picture of a very health-conscious environment. But how do foreign retirees actually access this health care? Are there restrictions?
Okay, this is a really important clarification the paper makes. Unlike Thai citizens who are usually covered by national health care, most foreign retirees typically rely on medical tourism type services, those dayward clinics, and especially the Western standard private hospitals.
So they're not usually eligible for the free public system.
Generally not for comprehensive care, no. So it is absolutely crucial for retirees to understand their healthcare options and, critically, to have adequate health insurance that covers them properly in Thailand.
Right. Comprehensive expat health insurance is a must-have then. Where can people find reliable info on doctors, hospitals, insurance?
The paper suggests checking with expatriate clubs and associations. They often have great local knowledge. Also, the Thai Board of Investment, maybe more for expats who are still working partly, and various retirement-focused organizations. They can be good resources for up-to-date info.
Good practical tips. Okay, let's move on to culture and lifestyle. What's it actually like to live there day to day as a retiree?
Well, Thailand has this incredibly rich cultural background, right? Deep traditions and values that are still very much alive, even with modernization. And it's important to remember there are regional differences, too. So northern Thailand feels different from the south or Bangkok. It offers a lot of variety depending on where you settle.
So not just one monolithic Thai culture.
Definitely not. And for retirees who want to immerse themselves, there are just countless opportunities. You can observe Buddhist rituals, maybe even consult an astrologer that's quite common, participate in merit-making ceremonies, learn about local crafts, watch traditional Thai dance, take Thai cooking classes. The paper suggests life can be filled with really unique, enriching daily experiences. Imagine starting your day wandering a local market, then maybe a relaxing Thai massage later. It's probably quite different from the retirement routine back home.
It certainly sounds more engaging for many.
Yeah, and the research points to the generally welcoming and caring nature of Thai communities towards retired expats. This tends to make adapting to the social side of things relatively easy, while still, being yourself. There's a huge range of leisure activities, too. Sports, swimming, all the wellness stuff we mentioned, exploring nature, cultural sites, maybe taking classes, comfy housing, local markets, modern malls, handicrafts, festivals. Lots to do.
What about making friends and building a community? Is that easy for newcomers?
The paper mentions lots of age-friendly activities that help foster connections. Things like informal lunches by the beach, organized morning walks with other retirees, coffee mornings, dinners at local or expat restaurants, even international dinner dances sometimes. The generally peaceful vibe in many retirement areas, plus active international clubs and community groups, really helps people maintain independence but also feel connected. And if you hit bumps adjusting to cultural differences or figuring out local services, there are often informal support networks among expats, and sometimes more organized groups, too, to help navigate things.
Sounds like a pretty good support structure exists for expats.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's tackle the maybe less glamorous but totally essential part. Legal and admin stuff. Visas, paperwork. What do people need to know?
Right. As we mentioned, there are several visa options, but that one-year long-stay non-immigrant visa is pretty common for retirees. You get that initial 90 days, then you have to extend it annually, and each year you've got to prove you still meet the financial requirements, the money in the bank, or the monthly income, plus that medical certificate. So keeping your paperwork organized and meeting those financial thresholds year after year is key.
Are there other visa types people might look at?
Well, the paper briefly mentions a 5-year SMART visa. Interestingly, that can sometimes be linked to people getting certain medical treatments, like plastic surgery. But for any long-stay visa, you really need meticulous preparation of your documents. Full name, age, nationality, passport details, arrival card info, the visa application itself, signed. Depending on the visa and your situation, you might also need proof of compensation insurance, detailed income proof, maybe even a criminal record check from back home. Preparation is definitely the name of the game.
Sounds like you need to be super organized. Dot the I's and cross the T's.
Absolutely. The paper really hammers home the need for complete and accurate documents for a smooth process. The good thing is the annual extension of the long-stay visa does offer flexibility, and that SMART visa thing shows how medical tourism and lifestyle can sometimes overlap in Thailand. But yeah, whatever route you take, get your paperwork sorted.
Beyond the visa itself, what other legal things should retirees be thinking about?
There are several important areas. Things like the legalities around marriage, if that applies. Property ownership is a big one if you plan to buy. There are rules about foreign ownership. Having a proper will that's valid under Thai law is crucial. And setting up a medical power of attorney so your wishes are clear if you can't make decisions yourself. These are all essential for managing your affairs properly there.
Okay.
The paper specifically flags paying attention to local rules on real estate, taxation beyond just income tax, the specifics of Thai wills and living wills. And honestly, given the complexity of a different legal system and language, the paper strongly recommends getting a qualified lawyer in Thailand to help you navigate all this.
Definitely sounds like money well spent.
For sure. But despite these hurdles, the paper notes there's still growing online interest in retiring in Thailand. People are researching it.
It really underscores the need for expert advice. Now, to kind of bring this all to life, the research used case studies of actual expat retirees.
Yeah.
What did those personal stories reveal?
Oh, they offer such rich, detailed insights. You get a real sense of people's backgrounds, why they moved, what their living situation is like, their daily experiences, the ups and downs. They really show how people adapt, integrate into Thai society, the challenges they face and overcome, the opportunities they grab. And it's a diverse group, singles, couples, people who retired for different reasons. For some, Thailand is maybe temporary. For others, it's become their permanent home. This qualitative data really captures the reality of this trend. And a recurring theme, despite different backgrounds, is how vital that expat community support is for dealing with difficulties. These stories paint a really nuanced picture The good times, the reflections on future health, worries about being in a foreign system, sometimes policy frustrations. Interestingly, some studies highlighted gender differences too, how transitions might differ. Things like divorce law implications. Women may be finding more freedom in Thailand. Ultimately, these stories are full of lessons learned. They guide individuals, they can inform policymakers, help support organizations. They really show the transformative side of retirement, personal growth, fulfillment, starting a new chapter.
Sounds like those personal accounts add a crucial layer of real-world understanding.
Absolutely, they bring the statistics and regulations to life.
So we've covered a lot of ground based on the research.
Yeah.
What are the main takeaways? And what advice really stands out for someone seriously thinking about this?
Okay, so the paper basically concludes that Thailand is a very attractive retirement spot. It offers this compelling mix of advantages, lower cost of living, great healthcare often, nice weather, rich culture. But, and it's a big but, you have to weigh those against potential disadvantages. Things like economic risks of the baht fluctuating. Language barriers are real. Adjusting socially and culturally takes effort. Visa processes can be complex. Healthcare quality can vary depending on where you are. Building a social network from scratch isn't always easy, and immigration policies can change.
Right.
So the absolute key message is do thorough, deep personal research before you leap.
It's about balancing the pros and cons with eyes wide open.
Exactly. Be realistic. Plan for potential economic bumps. Think about how you'll handle the language and social side. Understand the visa steps inside out. Research healthcare where you plan to live. Actively look for ways to connect with people. Keep an eye on policy changes. But on the positive side, there are vibrant expat communities in many places, offering support and connections. And the enriching aspects, the history, the scenery, the food, those are huge draws. It really comes down to informed, realistic decision-making, being prepared, understanding it might not be perfect, but it could be great for you. The advice is extensive research, professional help when needed, careful planning. The study itself frames Thailand as very promising, diverse landscapes, lively cities, culture. But for individuals planning, the key things to really scrutinize are your finances, your health needs, your psychological readiness, and your cultural adaptability.
Let's just quickly touch on those planning points.
Sure, financially. Really map out your situation, make sure your funds are sustainable, factor in living costs, housing, healthcare over the long term. Healthcare, yes, it's good, but get that comprehensive insurance sorted, know what's covered, where to go, psychologically. Be honest with yourself. Are you ready for a big change? How will you build connections? What will you do for fun, for growth? And culturally, how adaptable are you? Can you embrace Thai traditions, the religion, the customs? That will massively impact your experience. The bottom line is, whether Thailand works for you depends entirely on your personal needs, your attitude, and your preferences.
So what are the final concrete recommendations for someone really pondering this move, using Thailand as the example?
Okay, the paper suggests 1. Deep personal reflection on your finances, especially how much you need accessible back home versus in Thailand. 2. Compare healthcare systems properly. Understand the visa costs and requirements in detail for your chosen country. 3, and this is crucial, assess your sense of belonging. Take long trips, maybe multiple visits. Get a real feel for the culture and social scene before committing. And 4, conduct structured, comprehensive research. Look at all the angles, financial, legal, social, health, to make a genuinely informed decision for a successful retirement abroad. Do your homework, maybe do a trial run, be honest about what matters most to you.
That is incredibly solid, practical advice for anyone thinking about such a major life change.
Indeed.
Well, that just about wraps up our deep dive into retiring in Thailand.
Yes, and as we've seen, Thailand really does offer this compelling package: affordability, climate, culture, recognized healthcare that keeps attracting more and more global retirees.
But as we've stressed throughout, based on the research, that careful planning, understanding your finances, and getting to grips with the cultural and legal side are just absolutely essential for a smooth transition. Hopefully this discussion has given you a clearer picture of the forces driving this trend towards Thailand, and maybe more importantly, the key things you need to consider if it's a path you're thinking about exploring.
Precisely.
And just to leave you with something to mull over, as demographics keep shifting and living costs in many developed countries keep climbing, how might this growing appeal of places like Thailand truly change our whole idea of the golden years? How we find fulfillment later in life? What unexpected challenges or maybe exciting new opportunities might come out of this global movement of retirees seeking different horizons? Definitely something to think about. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive.